Some of the hardest waves in the Godforge Alpha Caverns come after floor 120, particularly in waves that contain Isis, but they're not as difficult as you think if you understand the mechanics, which a few people don't, and therefore we are going to make a video on it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hello everyone, Raidred here, back with another Godforge video. And during our chill stream last night, a common question I got was sort of, how do I beat floor 132? How do I beat floor 149? And there was a common factor in all of them, is that there is an Isis wave somewhere in there. Now a lot of people don't realise how to get through it and to sort of play around the mechanics. So I thought I'd do a video today specifically covering 149, as you can see above my head, and I'm just using a team mostly of rares and Anubis, and hopefully you can replicate this using something similar to get past it. So we'll run through the entire floor together and talk about it. But before we get into that, we are just going to take a look at the champions I'm using and the gear that's on them. Now this wave 3 is a lot harder than previous waves. Not only is it a gear check, but you are going to need level 60 heroes as well. You'll notice everyone I'm using is level 60, so that's one thing to do. We got some free spirits yesterday. Use those, okay, on whoever fits the mold for you. Obviously not everyone has the same account. But for me, I've got Anubis here. As you can see, these are the sort of stats that I'm getting on him. He's not crit capped, all right, but he needs to have a reasonable level of accuracy still as well, which is why he's not there. But he smacks pretty hard, and he is acting as a control champion here for me. On his basic, if he gets a kill, he places a despair on everyone. And because mine is awakened as well, he also steals divinity, which is really nice. But yes, he is here as a control champion for me. And then we have the same with Skadi. Now Skadi's here not necessarily for damage, but just for the control that she brings. Hence we have 240 accuracy. Now, is that too high? Absolutely, probably for this level. I could maybe lose like 20 odd to try and get more speed, but it's just the gear pieces that I have. All right, I have done a video on her before. You can go check that out up here, that way somewhere. I'll put a card up there just highlighting how good she is and how to build her. But the too long didn't read or didn't watch in this case is lots of speed, lots of accuracy. And she's acting as my second control champion, so we're bringing two control champions into this fight. And then we have two damage dealers. So the first one for me is Guan Yu. He is crit capped, 160k crit damage, still a decent number or amount of speed, okay, and crit damage. And then Maria, definitely someone I slept on, 100% someone I slept on, but yeah, crit capped again, more crit damage, more attack there, less speed, and a lot of that attack is coming from the weapon that I've got. So yeah, first thing that, to summarize, okay, two damage dealers, two control units. You're not going to get through these floors without bringing in some control. And secondly, well, obviously level everyone to level 60, but also don't forget to level your weapons. A lot of people are struggling because they're still using like level 10s, things like that. Weapons are so pivotal for helping you progress. And as you can see on my Anubis, the reason why he's got such high stats is because he's in a level 60 Thunderbolt. So yeah, don't sleep on your weapons either. Righto, let's get into the fight then, shall we? Now, a lot of you aren't necessarily struggling with these opening two waves, but I'm just going to go through the entire thing anyway, just to show you how easy it is with decent control. So we're going to open with Guan Yu's core ability there. We're going to target the middle one here, and we're only doing this to lower Bastet to get some control out. So Anubis comes in, we'll finish her off, and place a despair everywhere. Now that has bought me the time that I need to finish everyone off with a bit of ease. So Maria's going to come over here. Now for me, because I have Anubis in my team, I'm not going to target Imhotep now. I'm going to leave that for Anubis. And I'm going to start working on Lady Shock this side. I'm going to try and freeze Osiris in the middle there, sorry. And then we did get that. I'm going to kill Imhotep with my Anubis, and just place control on everyone once more. Maria does incredible single target damage. A few people have said when I update my tier list at the end of this, I will. Whether I do a video on it, I don't know, because then the game will be over, so who knows. But she's definitely jumping up a little bit just because of the damage she brings. Gonna finish that off with Anubis once more, and then Guan Yu will finish that. And we move on to wave 2. Now, as you can see, there was no real struggle there for me, because we dealt with everything with control, which is just nice. Just gonna put the speed down and use our abilities. I'm gonna keep one use ultimate, and then what we've got here is everyone's reasonably low. We'll open up Biscardi's core. We got one freeze over here and another one there, but Anubis once more. Gonna finish this off and land the despair. Always target the Shamash first on this wave, and really in any wave where there is Shamash, because if you don't, he'll revive the first person you kill and then place Radiance. Now that's really bad, because Radiance reflects the damage you do. If you've got a Zeus or someone like that, you can often kill yourself basically just from the reflect damage, but also Radiance just makes you do less damage in general, so there's that to remember. Now I'm going to target the Hound of Duat, because if you kill someone when he's not controlled, he will then counter attack you, and there is a bug into a lot of people where he'll counter attack 3 times and just wreck you. So we're going to finish him off over here, rotate round, come back in here with Anubis and Guan Yu. I'm going to try and freeze over here. Didn't get it that time, but we will just kill the Anubis there. My Anubis will come back in, and then their Osiris is going to go. But because of the barrier we've got on our Anubis, didn't really do too much. We'll go for a kill here. He'll revive with Phoenix. He's going to target Anubis again. And now this is just a simple clean up job here. It's actually worked out alright for me, because it's allowed all of my abilities, including this one, to come back off cooldown. And then we'll go for the finishing punch and onto the troublesome wave. So, what we're going to do now is just quickly talk about the position that I'm in here. I'm going to hide my camera very quickly. Now, you will see on this final wave, we actually have everyone with their ultimate abilities ready. Okay, everyone is ready to go. I used very little on that second wave to make sure I could come into this final wave with them available. So that's the first thing that a lot of people don't do, mainly because they play on auto, right? I understand playing manual is a chore for some, but just to get past this level, definitely play it on manual. So I'm in a position where I've got all of my abilities ready and open to me to, have a really big opening salvo here. Now we're going to talk about sort of targeting and how Isis works. Now, the thing that most people struggle with is the fact that Isis's passive ability cleanses, and then it allows her to use her core, spread mends everywhere, la da da da. But the passive is actually targeted to the person with the lowest HP. So if you are controlling her, as long as she isn't the person with the lowest HP, she won't cleanse herself, and you can still get use out of the control. That is something a lot of people forget about. Now, for me, how I tackle this flaw is with 2 Isises, is I want to make sure that Quetzalcoatl is the one with the lowest HP at the end of it if I can. Because he is going first. So any control that I place on Quetzalcoatl will be taken off anyway. So then if the passive did trigger, it's not really going to have any effect because all of that control and such has gone. So I always target the person at the front. You don't have to do that. Anyone can have the lowest HP that's not Isis in theory. But if it is the person like Sphinx who's going last, they'll still be able to take their turn. Your control is useless. So I always go for the person at the front. But what we're going to do is we're just going to open with our ultimate abilities and see where we are. So after all of that, this is where we're at. Okay, so I am still going to target this Isis over here, and we'll use use core ability. Now Quetz is incredibly low, and so I'm not worried about that. I'm going to freeze this Isis over here with my Skadi. Now as you can see, she did nothing. Okay, this one over here did nothing, and that is because Quetz was the lowest HP. So now we're in a little bit of a tricky spot because we didn't get this one controlled, but that's okay. I'm still going to try and kill this one over here. Dealing with one Isis is a lot better than dealing with two, so we're going to come in over here, and we got our control out from the Anubis. Now this Quetz is controlled and he's still on very low HP, so I'm going to work my way on this Isis over here. Maria's basic attack is absolutely nutty, and therefore we got the kill instantly. Now Quetzalcoatl has already used his turn meter boost, and I'm not worried about him now. If he wants to ult when there is no one else alive, that is fine. So I'm now going to work on the Sphinx over here. You know, we can use our core ability from Isis, try and get the freeze. We got it on Quetz, and we'll just keep working on him over here. Quetz was controlled there. We've got rid of the 2 immortal stacks, finishing him off, and now it's just a cleanup job. So we will just work our way on this Quetz until he dies. We have got our ultimate ability ready here now, so when he brings everyone else back up, we can use our ultimates, we can use our core, we can get some kills. Freeze there, happy days. More control. Nope. That is the premise of the fight for me. Now, there have been times where I'm able to control everyone, both Isises, and Quetz doesn't get a chance to go to it initially. There are times where I just wipe the floor entirely with a slightly different team, but I've tried my best to bring something to more realistic to what a lot of people might have. Not everyone has Anubis, I get that. You can use an Odin, you can use a Mordred, that kind of thing, so you'll have better damage dealers than what I've chosen to use today with these two. But the premise is there, so hopefully you guys have found this useful and that you're able to clear this final wave. Definitely don't sleep on Maria. She actually does more damage the more buffs they have, so if one Isis does get a chance to go and put those mens out, you're actually making your life easier with a Maria for the single target damage. So definitely don't sleep on her. She actually ignores, I think, up to 10% defense, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it does go a long way. Damage increased by 3% for each buff on the target. So you're doing a lot of damage there. And then, oh, it's her ultimate, which ignores it. But either way, increased damage for each buff. She's going to put 3 or 4 out. So yeah, you're just making your life easier where the mens aren't survivability, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like an increased defense. You're just making it easier for yourself to kill one. So Maria, definitely a hero, that you could use as a damage dealer in this fight if you're struggling without your Zeuses and things like that, which I still don't have on this account. One last thing before we go, something that I haven't been doing that I do want to do moving forward is give a shout out to my YouTube members. So thank you very much to Brian, Beth, DJ Badhands, and my Greek supporter. I'm sorry, I don't know your name or how to pronounce your name, but thank you very much to the four of you for your support. If this ends up getting much larger, we'll just put like a screen at the end of here. But for now, as it's the four of you, thank you very much for that. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Take care and look after yourselves. Work hard, but as always, play harder. I will see you in another one soon. Cheers.